Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 115 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. How's it going?
Pretty good this weekend. How are you guys?
Good. We're good. I'm good anyway. I don't want to speak for Damon, but I'm good.
I'm fine. I'm just trying to make sure I get everything in a row. This chocolate chip cookie question is
It's kind of throwing you off?
Yeah. And then we were going to make more cookies today, and then my wife decided to do an apple pie, and there was 5 spice involved, and I don't know how I feel about that. So we'll see how it all turns out.
That's pretty funny.
I feel like this could be like a reality show, like Damon's cooking extravaganza. Yeah,
Damon's cook-off.
I feel like we've been doing something at least every week.
It feels like you have been, because you've been talking about it every week. So
yeah, so we'll see how this all turns out.
Yeah, and so Trevor got his gift from us, Damon. Did you see that?
I did.
Yeah, I wanted to say thanks. I know when you found that, Tom. I like I said before, I didn't realize it was what I wanted until you were like, hey, and then I was like, oh my gosh, why do I not yes, I need this. And it's so,
for those that don't know, we should probably explain.
Yeah. Well, I posted a picture of it on the Facebook group. So it's a lamp it's one of the old style lamps from the Polynesian. So it's an actual lamp that was in the Polynesian. And I think it's really cool because now we have these 2 lamps in our bedroom, and they're the different designs, but I think that's perfect because it, they both fit the Polynesian theme. The one thing that's funny is that I looked on the bottom and they were actually made in Canada. So I feel like it's like a full circle, it was down in Florida for years, and then it's, come back
to Canada.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, super happy with it.
I have to say, though, did it make you feel any less about the newer one? Because I think the older one's so much cooler looking. I hate to say it.
It's a bigger lamp, yeah, and it definitely. I love how worn it is. Actually, I guess the only problem I have with the newer lamp is we bought the new lamp and it looks great and everything, but it still looks very new. The other one, it just, I don't know, it feels more like something you would find in Hawaii, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I like it. And the funny thing too is when we were getting it, my wife saw the shade on it, and it's that square, like 60s style shade.
It looks very 60s.
Yeah. And at first she she started looking for shades, and we went down this whole rabbit hole of, it turns out lampshades are very expensive, and
they are super expensive.
Yeah. And it's very hard to find exactly what you want. Mm-hmm. And so we started looking at it, but then when we got the lamp, we plugged it in, turned it on, and put it in the bedroom. And my wife and I looked at it and we're like, actually, that works. We both agreed. Yeah, we both agreed that it's hey, this actually looks really good. So yeah, so thank you guys for that. That was that was awesome.
Yeah, we found I was looking for something for Trevor, and I found a whole eBay account that was a whole bunch of stuff that was from the rooms of the Polynesian. You could get pictures, you get mirrors, there's a lot of cool stuff. I thought the mirror was kind of cool, and actually the picture in the room was pretty cool too. There's a lot of neat stuff in that guy's page.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would have maybe considered the mirror. I just don't have anywhere to put it.
Well, and plus shipping that to Canada, who knows if it would make it there in one piece.
Well, I mean, that lamp came in a huge box with tons of packing foam in it. So, the guy packed it really well.
Okay, good. Well, that's good. I'm glad it got packed well. It had a long journey, so... Yeah, so that's good. I'm glad you liked it, because I was excited to see you get it. So, and it's I don't know, we don't know exactly what year it's from, right? So it's that 60s style, but it was probably not from when the resort opened, I'm guessing.
No, I mean looking at the cord and stuff, yeah, it's definitely an older lamp, but Yeah, I mean, I would have to do some forensic work on it, but honestly, I don't care at this point because now I have it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's cool. So
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right. Do we want to get into some listener questions?
Yeah. Let's do it. This one
All
is
right.
perplexing Damon. So Damon, do you want to read it, or you want one of us to read it to you?
I'll read it. So is there a store-bought type of chocolate chip cookie Damon recommends? Famous Amos, Mrs. Field, Chips Ahoy. And if it's Chips Ahoy, excuse me, and if it's Chips Ahoy, is he a crunchy or chewy person? I prefer crunchy Chips Ahoy. They all kind of suck. So I don't think
You don't like to slum it ever with your cookies?
It's so difficult. So my slumming it cookie, though, is the Chips Deluxe Rainbow. So that is the slum cookie for me.
Wait, is that the one with like the M&Ms in it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like the one that has like the 3 or 4 M&Ms. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's from Keebler. And it seems like that would be so counterproductive to my chocolateness. But it's the only cookie that seems to work. I think it's maybe it's the actual cookie part is better than a lot of the other ones. So that's what I go to. But honestly, I don't like any of them. I'd rather make my own. I rarely do chocolate chip cookies unless I'm making them.
I have to agree with you. You know, the fact that my wife bakes a lot, it's really hard to even want to look at cookies in the store when you have somebody at home that just makes really good chocolate cookies. So, yeah, I see where that makes sense.
Yeah, see, for me, I'm all about the Chips Ahoy Chewies. So I love a good Chewy. I could eat a whole sleeve of those and like
they taste so produced. The Chewy especially.
Yeah,
it's like so like scientifically lab engineered cookie. It's yuck. I can't, and especially because it's chewy, it makes it even worse.
I enjoy a chewy cookie though. So,
but you know that chewiness is not coming from
the way that they made it. Yeah, no, I know.
It's coming from some lab.
There's some preservative in there because you can't.
Yeah.
You can't keep it chewy and have it in a bag that long.
Let me ask you this though: when you eat the rainbow cookie, Damon, do you do one M&M per bite? Because that's how I always ate them when I was like a kid. I would always bite off one M&M at a time.
No,
you would like math your cookie to figure out how many.
Yeah,
there's usually 2 or 3. It's not that
it's like
hard.
3. I feel like usually, right?
Yeah, I eat my chocolate chip cookies in one bite, no matter the size.
Well,
so
I mean, if
Gideon's
it's too
would
big
be
for
rough.
your mouth, Gideon's might be hard to do.
Gideon's would be tough to do, but like cookies like this, normally a cookie like this would go full in with milk, and then I'd be good to go. That's it.
So you go milk. If it's a hard cookie, you usually go milk.
Have to go milk.
Yeah, you can't swallow.
I mean, now I'm on oat milk, which is actually, like I said, pretty good. I'll be honest with you. It's been my favorite of the milks. But yeah, that's what I would say I normally do.
I see. I'm just not picky about my cookies. If a cookie's in front of me, I'm going to eat it. Like if I'll eat a Famous Amos, I'll eat a Mrs. Fields, I'll eat a Chips Ahoy. I don't care. I'll eat them. Just give me a chocolate chip cookie. That's all I care about.
I used to be the same way, Tom. But then, like I said, when my wife started baking, this was like years ago. When we were like even before we were married, she would sometimes bake. And yeah, when she started doing that, it was like, yeah, you kind of get to a point where it's like, you look at the ones at the store and you're like, those are okay, but the ones I get at home are better. So
it's a calorie thing for me. Like, I don't want to eat calories that don't taste great because there's just no point. It's part of the reason I don't drink either. It's dead calories for nothing.
Listen,
like I'll eat cookies, but
don't get me wrong. Like I prefer a home baked cookie. Like, I prefer that. I'm just saying if one of the other ones is in front of me and available, I don't mind eating that either. So
what I'm saying though is that when the frequency of homemade cookies is high enough, or that it'll.
Yeah, you're only 7 days away from a good cookie.
Yeah, like it's like I guess that's the way that I look at it. Is it's like, if I knew that my wife only baked like once a year, I would be like, okay, I need cookies more than once a year. But but yeah, because it's like a regular thing that happens, and for my wife, it's she bakes and she doesn't eat it because for her just the activity of baking is relaxing. So, the agreement we have is she makes stuff and then me and my son eat it, or I take it to work and hand it out to my coworkers who love it and all that. But yeah, it's like I said, knowing that you kind of have that on demand, like home baked cookie makes the store bought ones look really lackluster.
No, that's fair. I mean, that's fair. All right. Well, I think
should we talk about some actual Disney stuff now?
We only are 10 minutes. I mean, we talked about Disney in the beginning because we talked about the lamp, right?
But I feel Chris's next question is interesting. So, all right, I'll read this one. So, Chris says we have a Jambo reservation for May, and still most things are closed, which has us considering a change. Would most amenities besides the pool being unavailable make you move resorts, or would you want the room and the pool and the rest doesn't matter as much? This is a hard one. I mean, it's like, I guess it depends on the resort. Like you have to kind of look at if the pool is good enough that you're willing to overlook the other things. I mean, that's where I would start personally, but
it is a good pool over there. I mean, you do have some stuff open at Kidani, which is just, a fairly short walk over. And I guess, the question is, are you going to order food? Are you going to have all that stuff in your room ahead of time? Or because if you get like a grocery order to your room, I mean, you probably don't need most of the amenities that are there, right? So, except for the pool, which you're going to have. But I understand this though too. But if you really need to get to like a gift shop or whatever, it's right there in Kidani, a short walk away or a short little bus ride away. So.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking of it just, it's easy enough to get food in the parks. And, if you're not, I mean, for me, some trips we hardly spend any time at the pool. So it kind of depends on the trip. But then, other things like if the gift shop is open, if you can get certain things, that I haven't really thought about that because we haven't been there. Actually, no, that's not true. Because we stayed at Caribbean Beach and like everything was closed, and that was actually supremely annoying, I will admit. Now that I think back on it, they had a gift shop set up in a tent, which was, it didn't feel great. And it definitely made, I guess when you're getting down to that level where the majority of things are closed, I guess, for us, we never changed our Caribbean Beach booking because that was very last minute because of the hurricane, and we just kind of rolled with it. But I guess if I had known beforehand what I was getting into, I probably would have we decided on Caribbean Beach because, or actually, I don't think we could find anything else at the time, but we didn't even look at like All Stars or anything like that. And that's not to say, I would, give up staying at a DVC resort to go stay at an All Stars, but I guess you kind of know where your family's breaking point is for this stuff. And if, if those kinds of things are of big value to you, like having all the, having certain amenities just available and not having to, like you said, Tom, get on a bus or whatever to travel to them.
Shuttle they have,
that, that can definitely be the deal breaker, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't mind it too much, but I could also see it being an inconvenience depending on how you vacation, right? So, like, just like we're saying, it depends on your individual situation. Like, if that's something you feel like you need those amenities, or if that's, you don't want to go over to Kidani, then maybe change it. Maybe change it over to Kidani because Kidani's got, Kidani has all that stuff. I don't know if this is a DVC stay. They didn't actually say, but I'm assuming it is just because the rest of Jambo I don't think is open. So maybe just move it over to Kidani and then you have the amenities open over there. But, I also get that some people prefer Jambo anyway. But Kidani's got a very nice pool too. I mean, there's a great pool over Kidani and there's a lot of nice things over Kidani too. So, I mean, that's a thought too.
Yeah, and you could actually, thinking of it from that way is, you stay at Kidani, and if you really want to go over to the pool at Jambo, just plan to go over there a couple of times.
Shuttle over.
Yeah, but then most of the time you're in Kidani and you have everything else available.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. All right, so Jeremy wants to know, Trevor, what's your favorite non-poly WDW DVC resort? It's a good question from Jeremy.
Yeah. So I noticed he specifically said WDW, so that takes Grand Californian off the list.
I mean, you don't have to play by his rules if you don't want to.
Well, I know, but I mean, because that's not in Disney World. So, I mean, that would be my second choice is the Grand Californian.
All right.
I guess if I was to stay in that same line, I would. No, actually,
Caribbean Beach, right?
No. I was about to say Wilderness Lodge, but then I stopped and thought about it for a second, and I actually don't want to stay at Wilderness Lodge all that much. If I was to look at another resort, now you're making me think hard about this. I would say, if I wasn't to stay at the Poly, I would probably Boardwalk would be my next choice. Because actually, yeah, we were going to stay at Boardwalk, and then we changed back to the Poly.
You just can't help yourself, Trevor.
Yeah, it was one of those weird discussions where we were like, we already had the room booked at the Poly. We're like, well, let's try Boardwalk, and then we got to the 7-month window, and then we talked about it, and we're like, no, we're just going to stay at Poly.
That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess, yeah, in that sense, the next one that came up that was actually in the window for discussion was Boardwalk. So I would say that would be my favorite non-Poly DVC resort.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so Bobby has a question. If there were a resort you had to get rid of because they plan to open a new park, which resort and why? So let's pretend like they're going to open that park we talked about a couple episodes ago. What did we call that park? The of all the retired rides?
The haunted or
No, the one that was all the rides that were retired. I'm trying to remember. I feel like Damon gave it a name, but gosh. It was the name of the episode. I should probably remember that.
Was it a retro park or something?
Oh, it was Retro Park. Yeah, it was Retro Park. Yeah, that was it. So
Retro Park is opening. Which resort are we sacrificing to do it?
Poly.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
It's not even enough space for a new park.
They squeeze it in there, Poly.
Oh, man.
Why do you hate Poly so much? Dave?
Because he knows reason to ever go back there. I was like I said, I was there during the worst Poly incident ever.
Yeah,
why would I ever want to go back?
That's true.
I could lose that park. I mean, I could lose that part for a park.
Yeah.
Plus, it's also would be easy to get to.
Yeah.
It's close to the other parks.
Mm.
Right? I mean, maybe you'd have to go and dig out some of the lagoon to make the park fit, but that's okay too.
I feel like you're just doing that just because you know how much I like the Poly.
No, it really isn't. Like I said, I just wouldn't stay at the Poly again because of what happened when I stayed there. There's just I have no interest in going back. There's just, like I said, there's other places that I like just as well. And I also think the Poly's a little overpriced too, like point wise. So there's no real benefit for me at the Poly when I like other things better. I don't think I'd get rid of anything cheap point wise. But to makes the most sense because of the size would probably be Saratoga.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was going to say Saratoga or Old Key, but then I also was thinking of, well, because they have so many rooms there, there's always a room available there, so
you're hosing yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. You're taking a lot of space out of the system, a lot of points out of the system basically, and making people stay elsewhere. Right. So
yeah, that's tough. I mean, so again, if we're talking about some sort of collapsed multiverse where size does not matter.
Yeah.
Then it would probably be Bay Lake or Poly. I mean, for me.
Bobby also says resort, doesn't say DVC resort. So we could eliminate
Caribbean. Nah, then that's out. All-Star.
Yeah, just get rid of all the All-Stars.
All the All-Stars are gone.
Caribbean Beach, I think, would be pretty high. Yes, because I know people like it, but
I don't like it at all.
I don't know anybody that likes Caribbean Beach.
There was so much walking. Oh my gosh, it was so much walking. I didn't like when you get back to your hotel and you have to like be on a bus for like 30 minutes just to get to your area of the resort, and then you have to walk for like another 10 minutes to get to your room. I think the big knock is too the no elevator situation. Yeah, those stairs, like the first day it was like, oh, cool, we're on the second floor or whatever. And by about the fifth day, it was like, oh gosh, you're making me climb these stairs again. Why are you doing this? Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely a knock on it. But at the same time, they do have a Skyliner station. So
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter.
Doesn't make up for it.
No.
It's a little too late.
Exactly.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody that's like, I love Caribbean Beach. It's the only place I'm staying. Like, that's my favorite place. Like, nobody names that one.
I mean, my whole theory is either you stay high, you stay low, you never stay middle, because it's just not cost effective.
I get that. Like I've said this many times, I've always wanted to stay at one of the Port Orleans. That's the only time. I mean, that's the only time I've wanted to stay moderate. And also, the new Grand Destino Tower looks pretty nice too. So I would stay there. That's at what, Coronado, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would stay there.
Yeah. So it's not not all moderates are bad. It's just Caribbean Beach just it has a lot taking away from it.
Yeah. A friend of mine is staying at Coronado in November, which I actually might be joining them for a couple days. But I asked where they were staying, and they said Coronado. I'm like, oh, slumming it. Unless you're staying in Grand Destino. I was joking, of course. But if they're staying in the Grand Destino Tower, then that's nice, I've heard. So, but I was joking with them anyway. Like, I don't look down on anybody for staying at All Stars or moderates. I stayed at All Stars before we bought DVC, and I was fine with it then. But yeah, I think if we're going non-DVC resorts with this, I think those All Star resorts take up a ton of space, right? So you could make a pretty large park by flattening all those things. So anyway,
yeah. Yeah, don't give them any ideas.
What's that?
Don't give them any ideas, because taking away the All-Stars would actually be a bad thing, but
I agree
that's
with
a
you.
whole larger discussion.
No, I agree with you, because I think it's good to have like an affordable option to stay on property, and a lower cost option. I think it would be bad to get rid of them all, but in this situation,
No, you have to put the loud people somewhere.
What? All right. What does that even mean? What do you mean the loud people?
That's exactly what I said. The people that are loud and stay up all night and
do
you not have those people that you're it's like 11:30, you're in bed, and they're like stomping in the hallway,
When you go a motel style versus a hotel style, there's just more noise in general.
Yeah,
even at the Caribbean, because there's more outsideness. Right? There's more walls to the outside.
Yeah, when you have the outside entry instead of the inside entry, right?
Correct.
Like that's a huge difference. Yeah.
And for me, that's a big deal. So I'd rather those sort of places can go for me.
And people don't realize that they use their outside voices all the time.
Well, they're outside.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing. I think that's the difference about it.
But you can talk with your inside voice when you're next to a building. Like I don't go next to my neighbors and like start yelling like right outside their bedroom window.
Yeah.
I think it's more of just, like I said, the way that it's set up just lends itself to more noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry, Trevor, what were you going to say?
No, I was just agreeing.
Okay. All right, who wants to read Dan's question? All right, I'll do it.
What if we just didn't read any of Dan's questions anymore ever again?
Whoa, what's with the anti-Dan? Poor Dan. This is
I felt like he didn't come through with another really. Oh, he did. I'm just listen. He's been slacking a little bit. I think he knows he has been. There's something on the menu you're a sucker for is just. It's not up to Dan's standards, and I'm just
Standards.
Standards,
yes. It's not up to Dan's standards. I mean, this is a good question, though. Disney's been expanding previously posted park hours, with more hotels opening in the upcoming months. What do you think park hours will look like this summer? And then headed towards October 1st. I mean, here's the thing. Like, you see these park hours get posted. Disney changes these all the time. They have like a base, kind of set for these things. And then as they see what kind of crowds they expect to come, then they adjust the park hours accordingly. I mean, just yesterday I saw that the parks were busy yesterday. In fact, I think they were all at capacity yesterday.
which again, that's not full capacity. That's still the
30%, I think
30,
is what they said.
30 for 35%. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they were at capacity yesterday, and I saw that they extended park hours by a half hour that day at Magic Kingdom. Like, they just sent out an alert to everybody, half hour later today. And I mean, I remember one time I went to Magic Kingdom, and when we showed up that day, they had like a foldable sign out that said Magic Kingdom will be closing at midnight tonight, and it was supposed to close at 11. When we got up that day, it was closing at 11. They changed it to 12. So like these things change. And to Dan's point, I think Disney's also assuming that they're going to be able to up their capacity, as the months come up, because I doubt they're going to up the hotels and then not do anything with capacity, So I would think that that's also going to come with longer park hours too. That's just my guess. I don't really know though.
Yeah, and I mean, this again is part of that bigger equation of like it does play into the whole vaccine rollout and everything. Is as things return more back to normal, you will see that shift. And the challenging thing is that there is this pent up desire for people to go on vacation, right? There's people that are just itching to, get on a plane and go somewhere. And I think, I think what you're going to see over the next couple of months, like the fact that they hit capacity over this weekend, you're going to see the same thing happen multiple times going into the summer, because every time that, getting towards spring break, any, long weekends, stuff like that, people are going to be taking their opportunities because, like I said, they want to take these trips. People have, like, even for us, we've been postponing trips for over a year now. So we, when the time comes, you're just going to have a lot more people there. And I think this is what's going to be the biggest problem, is that for the longest time, you've heard a lot of people saying, hey, it's great here right now. The wait times aren't as bad as they look. There's really not a lot of people. As things get closer and closer back to normal, you're going to hear the opposite. It's going to turn into, oh my gosh, why is it so busy at Disney? It's crazy how busy it is. And yet, they still haven't opened everything up all the way, because they're going to be pushing that capacity more and more regularly. Right. So
yeah.
So
it's going to take time to kind of transition into that. Right. There's going to be some pain in between.
Yeah. I really believe the reality is that you're going to hear a lot more unhappy people and a lot more it's crowded for, going into the summer, and then also leading up to October 1st, because that is the start of the 50th.
Yep.
I mean, there's already people that, they've already booked up all the Magic Kingdom days on October 1st.
Yep.
Or all the ones that were available. That's not, they can, as they expand capacity, you'll probably see blocks of, you can book more days on October 1st as we get further down. Yep. But, I think, that lead up to the 50th it's just going to be really busy, is what I think. And, honestly, that's part of the reason why, like, even for us, we've been weighing the options, and not just the park capacity, but also, for how long it's taking for vaccinations up here, because in Canada, we're not moving as fast as the States for vaccinations. We're actually already thinking about postponing our trip again because of all this. So, to answer your question, Dan, I think it's going to be rough.
Yeah. We'll really have to see, kind of how things shake out. But, the nice thing is they can adjust these things quickly, and they will adjust them based on, the crowds and the expected amount of people that are going to show up, and, that kind of stuff. So yeah, they adjust pretty well to these things. They know how to handle crowds and handle capacity and all that stuff. So
yeah, it's more people having to reset their own expectations, I think, is that, not expecting to walk in there and find that, it's easy to get around, is that, Disney will adjust hours, but it's not going to take away from the fact that you're still going to be dealing with larger and larger crowds as time goes on.
Yep. All right. We got an email question. So I put this one in here. This is from Ashley. And this is, Ashley also said, love the podcast. I didn't put that part in, but she said, love the podcast. She said, so I'm looking into buying DVC resale. I've heard Hilton Head isn't the best one to buy because of the high dues per point. I would really like to take a vacation at this resort yearly, every August realistically. My parents have taken us to Ocean City, Maryland yearly since I was born. Now they rent a condo. I know it isn't cheap, so if I could use DVC points to give them a yearly vacation, I'd like to do that. I usually do 1 or 2 Disney trips a year as well. In May, just my daughter and I for 4 nights typically, and then usually in February for 2-nighter. So what's that, 6 nights a year? It kind of looks like she's looking at Disney, right?
Yeah.
So for these 2 trips, we usually don't mind where we stay, especially, we are typically a value resort family. We were just kind of talking about that. That's, how we were. Would you recommend buying into Hilton Head for these reasons, or is it better to buy into a different resort? Thanks. There's so much information out there. I'm unsure. Here's the thing. If you're going to stay at Hilton Head, I would buy at Hilton Head. It's not the easiest resort to book. And so it would probably be helpful to own there if that's a place you want to stay, to have that 11 month home resort preference. So that's kind of what I would say is if you're going to stay at Hilton Head, I think that's one of those places kind of like, Grand Californian is, where you should buy there if you're going to want to stay there, because that's, they book up quick, and it's can be tough to book at 7 months at Hilton Head. So
I think it's going to depend on when you're talking about.
That's true, too, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I would do that. I don't think I'd buy at Hilton Head personally. I would say that I'd buy somewhere at Disney as long as I wasn't looking for, the 4th of July or, one of those holidays. I think I probably wouldn't worry about it so much. If you are looking to go during that time frame, though, where there's a holiday involved, then I would say yes. But outside of that, I think I would still stay at Disney World proper and just use points to go to Hilton Head. I mean, that's just me. And the other thing is, too, I guess, if there's a lot more flexibility, because it looks like, and I don't necessarily know the ages of everyone here. So, she's saying her parents have taken us, so I could use them to give them a yearly vacation. If you're not tied down to, and I'm going to make the assumption that maybe her parents are retired, maybe they're not. But if you have a little bit more flexibility in your scheduling, then I just don't see the need for it. But if you're on some sort of strict schedule, like Tom has a little bit of a different situation because his wife's a teacher.
Yep.
But if not, then I don't necessarily think I would. I mean, because you're buying in at resale at Hilton Head. When's the end date for Hilton Head?
That's a good question. I mean, it's probably, I don't know how many years are left on that contract off the top of my head, but I can find out real quick.
Yeah. I mean, I think with the years left on the contract, there's a little bit more information that would always be helpful for us, right? I mean, again, depending on if her parents are retired or, what her flexibility is in terms of vacationing. Is she actually going with her parents or just sending her parents? I couldn't really figure that out either. If she's going, then it has to get into her flexibility as well. But I don't know, with the end date, I think I would buy something with a longer out end date and then just take my shots at Hilton Head.
Hilton Head is 2042. So that's 21 years?
Yeah. I mean, It sounds like a long time, but it's not.
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't know if I would do that, especially, on top of the fact that it does have the high dues per point. I think I might buy something a little bit newer and, just kind of, stay there with my points when I could.
Now, I guess, would either of you consider buying 2 smaller contracts, having one at a WDW resort and then having points at Hilton Head?
Yeah, I was just going to say that maybe do a small Hilton Head contract and then do a larger contract at a Disney World resort.
Yeah,
not a bad option either. But to Damon's point, if you're not going to go during the summertime in Hilton Head, I mean, because the whole summer is kind of difficult. You can get it outside of summertime, but yeah.
So let me explain a little bit more about Hilton Head as well. So Hilton Head starts to kind of shut down in the end of July because a lot of kids from the South are going back to school in August. So you have the first week of August. I mean, I've been to Hilton Head every single time of the year, right? And again, while not at Disney, I've been at Hilton Head and I understand what kind of happens there. So when you get into later August, things are different. It depends what sort of Hilton Head experience you're looking for on top of that.
So she says that she was specifically targeting August for a yearly visit.
Yeah, I guess it's going to depend on August, right? So again, while August seems like, oh, you've narrowed it down, you really haven't, because the end of August is totally different from the beginning of August. Like, hugely, vastly different in terms of people there.
It's closer to like September in WDW, right? Where
yeah, because again, in the South here, you have most of the people going back to school, like sometimes before the 14th of August. So I think that's where, like I said, it depends. You know, the beginning of August is way different than the end of August. If you're talking about the end of August, I don't think you'll have a problem, because I can only imagine that DVC fluctuates kind of similar to how Hilton Head itself fluctuates. Plus, I'll be honest with you, Hilton Head is not as fun in general at the end of August, because everyone has kind of, you know, the restaurants, all the places have kind of entered into this, like, okay, the season's over.
Off time, yeah.
Yeah.
Off season.
Yep. Yeah, it really is a little different. You know,
because it's a resort town. I mean, it's a resort, you know, city. I mean, it's all about tourism. That's it. And it's got seasons. So,
I would say that's the case. I mean, and it is not like Ocean City, Maryland, having been to both of them. I don't know. The other thing is that, has she been to Hilton Head?
She didn't say in here. So
yeah. Ashley, we would love a follow-up to discuss this further.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some options there. I mean, you could get a small contract at Hilton Head if you wanted to, but I mean, it might make more sense for you to just do a regular contract at Disney World at one of the resorts there, and then use your points at Hilton Head whenever you want to stay there. It just might be more challenging to get a reservation, 7 months out than 11 months out. But I mean, you could probably get something if you plan ahead. So,
Yeah, I mean, the other things too, right? The other thing we don't know is how big is, again, if she's staying with them, how big is her family? Or if it's just her parents going, right? Then,
what size room are they going to get?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's going to make a huge difference as well. Difference. So, yep.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're going for like a one bedroom, the one bedroom is going to be much easier to get than a studio is. So, yeah, that's definitely a big difference as well. So we kind of gave you an answer, Ashley, but
yeah, like I without knowing anything, I would still buy a Walt Disney World personally. Yeah. And I love Hilton Head, so
I would agree there, because buying Hilton Head, I feel it just, like you said, there's far too many limiting factors on it. The age, you're limited to 7th month at all the Disney World resorts. And then again, like you said, Hilton Head really has its own seasons as well. So it's like, further to your point, it's not like you would even use Hilton Head all year round, right?
No. And the thing about Hilton Head is so here's the other thing. The beach for the Hilton Head resort, right? Tom, you've been there, right? Yeah. It's under a tunnel, right? If I remember.
It is, yeah.
So it's
not
like you're right on.
You got to take a bus to get there too, or you can ride a bike or walk.
You can ride a bike,
too, but it's a little far.
You're not on the beach, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I would rather stay somewhere in Hilton Head at a house than DVC if that's the sort of vacation I was doing, and it would be way more cost effective. So I had a buddy of mine, it wasn't last year, but the year before. So it's, him, his wife, and 2 kids. They stayed in Sea Pines condo with a pool, tennis courts, bike rental, the whole shebang. I want to say they were there for a week for $1,250. Right. And it was in a nice, Sea Pines is my favorite place to be, right? If I'm going to be in Hilton Head. And I think to myself, $1,250 for the week. Yeah, I think that if I was going to do a Hilton Head, that would be something I'd probably do over DVC. I don't know how cost effective DVC is at Hilton Head.
As far as like how many points per night it is and all that?
Well, yeah. I mean, and then over the course of multiple years, and then your dues and things like that. Yeah. I just don't know how cost effective that is. I'm sure someone else knows the answer to that, but I can tell you that I'd rather be in Sea Pines, especially because of where it is. Like, the Disney Resort kind of sits in the middle of like limbo, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and the beach site, I believe, is in Palmetto Dunes, I want to say, which is right across the street, but it's still a little bit of a haul to get there.
Yeah.
But
I love Hilton Head. I just think that I would probably do Disney World and just go to Hilton Head. I mean, if you feel like you want that DVC experience, take a night. Do a night rent. Because the thing that's interesting about Hilton Head is you have this, Saturday to Saturday is usually how they book. This is at most beach places as well. But sometimes you're kind of like, oh, well, maybe I would do a night DVC on to bookend one of those, something like that, because you can't get in Saturday until 4:00 anyway. So a Friday night arrival and DVCing it for a day is not bad to kind of get that feel of Disney if you wanted to try it out. But yeah, maybe even rent there. Maybe do a DVC rental and just try it out to make sure. That's kind of fun. Doesn't that lead into something?
It was going to be a great transition, but we still have to answer Dan's question. So.
No, we don't. We're going to go right into the ad, I think, because the transition's too good.
All right. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I can go ahead and do the ad. Speaking of renting DVC. Anyway, so our sponsor this week is DVC Rental Store. The DVC Rental Store, a world of DVC company, offers magical vacations at incredible value. Stay up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. Like Hilton Head, you could stay up to 60% off at Hilton Head by renting some points there. So DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. And as always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 1-855-382-7368.
So yeah, I would say, it's funny. I keep on saying that I would do some sort of Hilton Head. I should almost do a write-up about Hilton Head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get just so as a place or you haven't stayed at the resort, right?
I've been to the resort.
Oh yeah, but you haven't stayed there. You just kind of went in.
I got actually a very nice tour of the resort.
They do very nice tours there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. All right, so I'll read Dan's question. So, what's something on the menu that you're just a sucker for and can't pass on? Mine is fried calamari. I'm disappointed in the question, and there's nothing really that I'm a sucker for.
Below his normal standards.
It is definitely below his normal standards.
I'll at least answer this is that I always end up going for some sort of buffalo chicken. I like something spicy, and I always gravitate towards that on a menu.
I'm going to say chicken parm. I have a hard time turning down chicken parm ever.
There's some bad chicken parm out there, though.
There is, but if I see it on a menu, I kind of want it.
That's the problem with chicken parm is there's some bad stuff out there. And again, being right in New Jersey, Tom, I'm sure you've had some really good chicken parm, so it's very difficult.
My wife knows, though, if we go to a restaurant and chicken parm's on the menu, 9 times out of 10, I'm ordering chicken parm.
I have a funny Hilton Head story.
What, you just thought of a Hilton? You're not even going to answer this question?
No, because I don't have anything that I'm a sucker for, so it doesn't really matter. It depends on what's there at the menu.
Going to talk about that.
Yes, I have a Hilton Head story, and I would never tell this story if the person that's in this story would ever listen to this. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell it anyway, because I know they'll never listen to it. So I have a very good friend that's a doctor. And I'm notorious in general for if people offer to pay for things more than once, then you're beat, right? Don't go out to dinner with me. And I don't, Tom, did you even pay for dinner when we went out to Charlotte? I don't remember.
I honestly don't remember what we did.
But if Tom had offered twice to pay for dinner, then he's paying. I don't get into this back and forth with dinner paying. You offer twice, hey, I'm going to pay for dinner. Tom, are you sure? I got it. Don't worry about it. No, I'm really going to pay. Okay, I'm done. I walk away, right? You're paying. Okay. So this is relevant to the story because I'm notoriously known for this. Even during poker games at this person's house, he'd always be like, oh, you bringing food? And I'd be like, nah, you're lucky I'm coming, right? I'm not bringing food. So anyway, we're in Hilton Head and we're eating at a restaurant that I didn't really want to do. As everyone probably knows at this point, I am very easy when it comes to vacations, which is totally not the way I am in real life, but I let most other people dictate what we do in vacations. So he wanted to go to a place I didn't want to go to because I have a list of 5 places, restaurants that I just love at Hilton Head, love, and always like to go there. But he wanted to go somewhere. So I said, okay, fine. It was not an Italian restaurant. He's also from New Jersey, also very Italian, but he's a doctor as well. This all factors in at this point. So we go to this place and it's a weird vacation because he is extremely wealthy and we're it's just a weird vacation. I'd never vacationed with him before. So, and he's at Hilton Head, which is kind of like my place, right? Even though he goes there often because he was a doctor for one of the sports teams. So someone lets him borrow their house in Hilton Head. So anyway, we're at this restaurant and he orders Italian meatballs. And it's like a Caribbean restaurant. It's not even a Caribbean. It's like an islandy sort of restaurant.
Yikes.
So I say to him, you ordered Italian meatballs. I go, that could be the stupidest order I've ever seen at a restaurant in my whole entire life. I go, you're from New Jersey. You ordered Italian meatballs. We're at a place that's an island place on Hilton Head known for their islandy sort of food. And you order Italian meatballs. Now, this fellow is never known to be wrong, ever. So he proceeds to get these meatballs. Now, the problem is I don't actually eat beef. So I can't even like call him on them. So he gets these meatballs and I go, so yeah, how are those Italian meatballs that you ordered at the island place in Hilton Head? And he says to me, he goes, they're the best meatballs I've ever had in my life. And I go, that is absolutely not true. I go, there's no way that they're the best meatballs you have ever had in your life. He's been to Italy. He's, again, from New Jersey, Italian. There's no way. You're absolutely lying out of your teeth. So he then proceeds to get obviously upset, right? But I'm still digging him because that's what I do, right? At the end of the day. So I keep on digging him. So now the bill comes. Now this is where it gets really interesting. I usually pay in cash previously to this whole COVID thing, right? I always pay in cash because I just like having the ability to know what I have left for vacation. I do it at Disney as well. Like I bring a bunch of cash and when that runs out, then I have no more money. I don't usually put things on credit card. Now that's going to be a problem now with the way things work at Disney. Obviously, but that's how I would normally do it. So I put down my money and it must have like our portion of it, right, was 100 and something probably, right? There's 5 of us. So yeah, figure 100 and something. So I put down, it must not have been, it must have been under 100. But like with a tip, it was around 100 because my daughter probably had like, chicken nuggets or something and maybe the boys didn't have a lot. So anyway, I put down 100 and then he proceeds to put down nothing and said, no, he put down the 100. And I was like, you're out of your mind. I put down this 100. Like, trust me, it was in my wallet. Like I only had 100 with me because I brought 100 and, some 20s and stuff like that. I put down this 100. We proceed to have this huge blowout argument. And there's absolutely no way he put down the 100. He was mad about the meatballs. That's all it was because he's that sort of person. He's mad about these meatballs and the fact that I called him in front of everyone. We had a huge party there. There was like 20 of us that I called him on these meatballs. So he tried to embarrass me with this 100 and the fact that I only had like 160. Like I was kind of beat because I had no more money. There's no way this wasn't my 100. Trust me. We went through this whole thing, but never to be outdone. I kind of just filed that away. Like, okay, I got you. So now we go out to another place that I didn't want to go to. It is a very good friend of mine. So like, I find it funny now at this point. So we go to another place and he orders, I don't know. It was like a pub sort of place. And again, I'm thinking to myself, why are we at a pub place when we're in Hilton Head, right? It makes no sense again.
Yeah.
All right. So he orders a Wagyu burger. Okay. Now, again, I already see what's forming here. And I'm like,
at a pub?
At a pub.
So it even had that.
It's all right. So that again, you guys, Trevor, you've never been to Hilton Head. It's like a poor person's Hamptons, if that makes more sense to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, right. So, yeah. So, Wagyu burger at a pub place is not out of the ordinary. All right. So, he orders this Wagyu burger and it comes and he just doesn't like for whatever reason, like he doesn't like the cook on it. Now, I immediately dive in and just start like, are you really sending that back? You sure you know what you ordered? Like the guy had explained to you what the cook was going to be like when you ordered medium rare. And it looks like that's the exact cook that you got. But no, he's mad about it, right? So, and it's raining at this point. This is even funnier, the story. So, he comes back, the guy comes, the chef comes out and explains to him, hey, like, this is kind of like what you ordered, but, if you want it, I cook it more for you. So he gets it back, he gets it cooked back. Okay. I'm already digging in on him, right? It's like, dude, do you even really know like what medium rare is? Are you sure? Like, do you maybe need help with that? Like, cause again, I'm mad about this $100 incident. So we go back and he gets the burger and it's definitely like medium well, but that seems to be what he, was going to get, because when you send something back, right, you're not going to get medium at that point. You're going to get medium well.
I'm going to cook it a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of mad at that. Okay. But says he's not going to send it back again. Cause I go, dude, if you send this back again, like you're that guy. Don't be that guy. Like we need them spitting on my dessert, right? Like, don't be that dude. Proceeds to put ketchup on it. I lose my mind at this point.
No.
I absolutely lose my mind. I go, you just ordered a $32 Wagyu burger that you've sent back and you just put ketchup on it? What are you doing? Right. And I go all in because I'm still mad about this $100. Go all in on it. Now it's raining out. Now he's thoroughly embarrassed, but he tried to get me about this $100. So now I'm kind of like, all right, well, and it's pouring rain out and he's so mad that he sends his wife out to get the car because he's just mad in general now. That's my Hilton Head story. It's very funny. It's very funny. But
that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, no, I don't have anything that's on the menu that's a sucker for.
Long story short, no, I don't.
Long story long. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that I've learned from this is, I'm just going to pay for my own meal and you're good, Damon. And
you asked twice. We're out of bounds after twice.
Yeah.
You know what though? That's probably good though, because I've been in many situations where it goes back and forth. Like, no, I'm going to pay. No, I'm going to pay. No, I'm going to pay. No.
Anyone comes to dinner with me, it's twice. That's it. Or anything for that matter. Anything, even if it's not food, twice and we're done.
Yeah.
So I've got a bit of a reverse on this. So just since we're sharing, when I was in January 2019, I met up with some friends in Disney World. There was about 8 of us, and we decided to have dinner at Skipper Canteen because I can't say those words together easily. And so as we were eating, I just decided, like, I had the money and I was like, you know what? I'm probably not going to see these guys in person for a long time after this. So I paid for the entire table's meal. But what I did was I went the other way, where I actually went and I found, like, I said I was going to the washroom and I found the server and I told him just to take everybody's bill and put it on mine. And then when the bill came to the table, he just gave me the slip and I was like, okay. And I paid it. And then everyone was kind of looking like, wait, what? Like, where's our bill? And then I was just, casually like, no, we're good. It's fine. It's fine. And then they all clued in. And then it was about 10 minutes of, no, we'll give you money. It's fine. And I had to keep like, it was the same thing, but I was on the other side where I was like, no, you're fine.
But the bill's already paid. There's nothing they can do.
Well,
so.
but they were trying to, like, say like, oh no, well, here, I'll give you money and whatever. Like they wanted to pay me back right then. And I'm like, no, it's a gift. Like, you're done. Right?
I always find that just as uncomfortable from the other end, because there's many times where I pay for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. It's even more uncomfortable to keep hearing that. Like, that's why I feel like on the other end, it's the twice and done. Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And then I'm done. I don't know.
I guess that's the bigger thing is, it's stop, like, either way, don't argue about the bill forever.
Yeah.
2 times, man. Either way.
Yeah.
And then just a heartfelt thank you. And then that's good, I feel like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that was a long
rabbit
I don't have
hole.
any good stories for you guys on this, so.
No Italian meatball stories in Hilton Head?
No Italian
Again, like, and
meatballs,
the only reason I would tell that story knowing that he would never listen.
You've never listened, so yeah.
No, that's okay.
That's funny. All right. Well, we've got some Disney topics to cover, and it's almost an hour already, so.
Well, I mean, we can get through these pretty quick, but
yeah. So I don't think this story means anything. I do find the reaction to it funny, though, because I know, Damon, you were freaking out about this, but I
Whoa. Freaking out. I don't know if I was freaking out. I'm a little disappointed if it continues.
Yeah, okay. So basically, the article is that the Disney Park Pass theme park reservation system has been extended through January 2023. I personally just think this is them keeping their options open. Like, I don't think that
I don't think
this.
You know what, and this is what I would say. I don't think you keep your options open with a January 2023 date. I think you keep your options open with a January 2022 date. the fact that they put it so far out from jump, I don't know. Now, look, I'm going to go on record, though, and say, while it is a little disappointing, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it makes total fiscal sense for them as a company. And I get that. There's just something that it's like, I want to go to Epcot and eat food. But, the more I actually thought about this a little bit, I mean, I want to go somewhere and eat food. It's Disney Springs now anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do listen. I love the food at Epcot. But again, I can always go to Disney Springs no matter when I want, which again leads me into this super interesting thought process of, this has to be fiscal, because if it's about people, you would have some sort of Disney Springs situation as well, which you don't.
Well, I think Disney Springs is a little different though, because from what I've seen, they've been keeping like the parking garages at a certain capacity. So,
and you're not paying money to get into Springs. So if you get turned away, I guess it's just a wah rather than a money thing. Yeah.
So because they instituted this obviously so they didn't have the situation that they have at Universal, where it's like if you could show up and they're just like, hey, we're at capacity, see you later, get out of here, right? So
but that's how Harry Potter used to be, though. Yeah, so you would roll up to Harry Potter, and they'd just be like, no, and you might not get in all day.
Yeah, and that's kind of not the best experience. At least I want to know ahead of time that I can't get in, right? So
just like I said, I think with the extension of the date so far out, this is something that we may see until 2023, but
possible,
again, the more I thought about it, the less I was, again, it was more of a food thing.
Yeah, sure.
So it was nice to be able to say, hey, I want to run over to Epcot at night, or hey, I want to run over somewhere. And that is not a possibility with this.
Well, no, you can still park hop. I mean, they got the park hop now.
You can't park hop if it's full.
No, well, that's true. You can't do it if it's full. Right?
There's a risk, right?
Yeah. Sure. If it's full, you can. But I haven't experienced this myself, but I have seen a lot of people post on Facebook that they've been able to change their park passes like the morning of to a different park. So like the spontaneity can still be there, because I do think that they just based on things I've seen, they seem to like have blocks of reservations that they release at different times. So like, for February, they'll have a block that they, start off with. And when that block fills up, they might wait a little bit and then release another block. And so I'm guessing that they have it set up that way. And that they maybe have some room for you to change same day if you need to, that's
but think about it like this.
So.
If you're in a party, can you change everybody?
I would think so. Yeah.
If you're in with other people, like I said, we tag ours with somebody else. So,
yeah. So you're saying if you had like 10 people in your party, but there was only 8 spots left, are they going to deny you? I don't know. I don't know if they go more generous with that or less generous,
Well, or if you have 2 families that, you're both managing your own bookings and one gets in and the other one doesn't, that gets awkward, right?
Sure.
Yep. It does.
Yeah. I just think that this system was a result of them needing to keep a certain capacity, and once they're back at full capacity, I just don't see why they would need this anymore.
I don't think it's that at all. I think it's more of a fiscal thing. It's going to save them a ton of money doing this.
What? How does this save money? I don't.
If you know how many people are in the park each day, you know how many people you have to send to work each day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they already kind of knew that before this, though, too. I mean, they knew that based on fast passes booked and like that kind of.
You have to overstack a park.
Yeah.
When you don't know how many people are going to be there, you have to stack it to capacity at all days, and this is going to cut that down. So I see the fiscal on it for sure.
I don't know. See, I just see this completely.
Do you think anything Disney's doing right now doesn't have to do with money?
No, I do, but I mean, I think they're just trying to avoid, again, the same situation as Universal, where you're showing up and they're turning you away. I don't think they want that situation. I think it makes more sense to say
if that situation saved them money, Tom, they wouldn't care.
No, listen, I understand. I'm just saying, there's something to be said for experience as well, and I think that they don't want that. But I get what you're saying, but they also were pretty good before predicting how many people they were going to have show up every day. I mean, you can ask a cast member. Every day they would have a number that they assumed that they were going to have that day. Now it could vary, of course, right? There's variance on that, but
there's no variance here anymore.
No, you're right.
This is extremely precise because they know exactly how many reservations they have.
And think about it. People if you could save how many cast members per day. I mean, let's just say you could save 30 per park per day. It's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, I just feel like they accomplished the exact same thing with fast passes. If they had fast passes in place, they know people are going.
Why?
They know,
I could go to a park and not do any fast passes.
No, but I mean, if you're booking fast passes 60 days out, it's a pretty good indicator you're going to show up to that park that day. You know,
but that's not everybody though. Like
exactly.
Damon said, you know, I knew a guy that he planned his trip like 20 days in advance, and he got some pretty crappy fast passes for it. but yeah, you know, not everybody. Like, we're not everybody. We're not the full range of people that show up at the park. With this reservation system, and I know what you're saying is, you know, well, people cannot show up, but they still have a reservation, which means they've still paid money.
Yeah.
So, you know, at that point, you know, Disney is like, we don't care if you don't show up. You know,
So that's an interesting question. What if you reserve and don't go?
I don't think anything really happens at that point. So, I mean, you know, it's nothing happens as far as like, you know, you can't get another reservation. It's more of just like, you know, your tickets might expire by the time it's time for you to use them, you know, because once those tickets have the limitation on once you use them the first time, they expire. I forget,
like 14 days or something.
Yeah, it's like 15 days or something like that. So I think that's how it works. I'm just saying like that this started because of the pandemic, and that they have other ways of predicting this very accurately, that I don't feel like they need this to predict crowd levels. That's all I'm saying.
All right. I'll disagree with you, but that's okay.
I think even beyond the pandemic, like I was saying, is, you know, as we get back to normal, things are going to be busier. This is playing back into that. And this does play back into what Damon's saying around fiscal management and all that, is that, you know, this gives them a level of control over. They're not just estimating how many people are going to show up and then, you know, having to be on their heels reacting to it.
Yeah.
They can actually control, you know, for the next couple of years, hey, we're going to only allow this many people into the parks on these days.
I think if it was 2022, I would agree more with Tom, but I think that the fact that they pushed it so far out, I just think it has something to do with other things.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could. It's you know, I kind of look at it as like, you know, maybe they just did that because whatever tech work they needed to do to make that happen, it just was easier to get it done now, and then they can always get rid of it later. I don't know. But
that doesn't seem very Disney.
No,
it doesn't. But I think it's good to keep your options open, because I don't think they know what's going to happen, right? I think they hope that they're going to get somewhat back to normal by 2022, but you know, they don't really know.
But they could have extended it at that point, right? If you're looking at it like that, you just extend it. The fact that it's so far out from jump makes me feel like it's not going to be pulled back. And again, that's fine, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like everything else, they renew on a yearly. Like we hear about yearly renewals of things like the DVC lounge, right? So why is this one special? Why is this one they're already looking at 2023, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just don't see them keeping it in place once they get back to 100% capacity. I just don't see it.
I think it'll depend more on guest feedback than anything.
I would say that guests probably don't like this. I mean,
yeah, and
I'm going to say that I could see this definitely staying at 100% capacity. I think the way that Disney runs is going to be different. The amount of money lost is so exorbitant that it is going to take 10 years, is my guess, before we're back to Disney normal. And I think that they will put everything in place to recoup where they can, or not even recoup, but just to kind of cut those things that were overhead for them, that they just kind of said, that's just the price of doing business. And I don't think those things will continue to be just the price of doing business. They are going to have tighter purse strings on their books.
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
All right.
No, yeah. I mean, again, we're all just speculating.
We're all guessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
yeah.
Personal opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know some cast members, and I know of, you know, they would have these numbers every morning, and they were like shockingly accurate how well they could predict, you know, how many people they were going to have in the park. And they were always pretty close, you know. So I just feel like they have other ways of doing it, but I do think that things are going to change.
Obviously, they have the numbers of what's going to come in the park until it's not.
Well, yeah, until it's not.
Right, until it's not.
Well, and
of course.
And again, you know, knowing my IT background comes in here, is that, you know, you don't just rely on one data source either. Like if they have a reservation system, they have, tallying people at the gates, they have a bunch of different metrics that they can use.
History.
Yeah. That gives them.
I think history's out the door now.
Yeah, well,
right now,
history's out the door for last year, but I mean, they can still use history from previous.
Once things get back to outside of Disney, when things get back to normal, yeah, they can potentially start trending that way. But again, normal, like even when everything is said and done here, and restrictions lift, like in states and stuff, it's still going to be a good year before you see everything go back to normal as you remember it before the pandemic.
Sure.
So what's also interesting is that we've also seen a lot more talk of people wanting to stay off site, right? Just in general, just the general chit chatter based on, what is a perceived lack of benefit for staying on site, let's just say.
Yeah.
I think that with this pent up demand of people wanting to go, for people that are not going, like myself, as well as the fact that they may get more people staying off site because of just whatever reasons, right? Money or perceived lack of benefit, their numbers are going to be irrelevant for years, right? Like they don't have no idea what they're going to have number wise. Think about it. Before that, you had decades of numbers that were, pretty accurate based on what trending was. There is no trending based on what has happened. And I think that's why this makes more sense.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers, right? Like that's what I do.
Numbers are
so
they still know how many tickets they sold though too, like they know how many tickets are sold too.
But they know how many tickets are sold, but that number doesn't tell you what park they're going to if you don't get fast
That's
passes.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But fast passes did tell you that usually.
But again, right? Like
not everybody
what if you
is
just
doing
aren't
that.
fast passing? And so fine, let's take fast passes and just say, okay, well, I know that I'm going to fast pass again. How I would travel, right? Is that I'm going to fast pass everything I can early in the morning, because in that way it allows me to go to another park. So what does that number really tell me? If I don't have a reservation system, where is Damon going next?
Well, yeah, there's going to be variance in that, right? So
know.
yeah, there's going to be, there's going to be, but I'm sure they build that into that too.
But what if just everyone decided that they're going to go to Epcot as their second park? Because that just was the way the wind blew that day. See, that's what they can't have. That's why they're doing this, because they can't have that. So
yeah. I know.
We can have a whole show about this, because
right?
I'm vehemently disagreeing with Tom, but that's okay. Everyone has an opinion.
I get what I mean. I don't think it's vehement. I feel like you could be a lot worse about it.
I just like that word, so that word kind of works for me.
Yeah,
but.
that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the fact that Disney just filed permits for Fantasmic. Jeez, Beauty and the Beast and Indiana Jones theaters. That. I see. I'm reading this as that means they're going to reopen soon, but I don't know what else that could actually mean, right? I don't know.
Is this in the rumor section?
No.
Yeah, let's call it a rumor. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's...
Wait, they filed the permit, so that's not a rumor.
That's not a rumor, but
discussing what it could be.
The permits are vague, right? So the permits are for general construction. But why for those three things that are closed would they be doing general construction all of a sudden? I don't know.
To me, kind of like what the article says is, it's most likely refurbishment. There's probably stuff that they've had on their to-do list for a while that, before the pandemic shut down, they probably knew that they had to do fix-ups in each of these shows. And now that they're closed, they probably had it on a plan for a while to say, hey, when we're getting ready to reopen, we're going to do all these fix-ups. We're going to get everything, back to
What if it's just for plexiglass in between rows?
Yeah,
I hope not.
Too.
I really hope not, but that would be awful.
It might be.
Yeah. I mean, it could be that. And I mean, but to your point, Trevor, if they're going to fix this stuff up, why fix it up now unless you're going to reopen it?
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. We already have an announcement of the Lion King reopening. So in my head, I'm seeing this, there's probably a tiered plan that they have where they've decided, we're going to open the shows in this order. And this is probably their, how they're doing their preemptive work on that, is that they know that, you're probably not going to see anything about these until, maybe the summer, but they're doing all this work now so that when it does open, that, everything is back to functioning properly, right? There's no, because if they opened up, Fantasmic and like certain effects weren't working, people are going to call them on it. Like that.
Well, of
that's
course, yeah. Well, and the moat has been drained at Fantasmic since the pandemic. So since they closed, basically, there's been no water in that whole thing for a while now.
Yeah, because why would you?
Why would you have water in there? Yeah,
yeah.
Water's corrosive; it destroys everything. So. Why wouldn't you have it drained? I don't know. I just look at this and I think to myself, okay, I feel like they're looking at summertime and they're looking at bringing these things back by summer. That's just kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but I hope that I really hope that you're wrong, Damon, that it's not just plexiglass, because
it could be, but that means they're going to reopen though, at least.
Yeah, but how?
You feel like it's going to ruin things?
Yeah, I think it will.
That may be the norm for a little bit.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already preparing myself for my trip, but like going on a lot of these rides with plexiglass in front of my face. So, you know, that's basically what we have to do to go, right? So, I'm going to be happy to be there. I'm not going to be happy to see plexiglass in front of my face, but you know,
my big problem is my OCD will kick in and I'll be like, I wish people would just stop touching the plexiglass, because God, thumbprints on plexiglass is just the worst.
I'm assuming they're cleaning them, but you know.
Yeah, let's assume that. But you can tell when people have, you know, when there's hand.
They're not going to wipe down Trevor's perfectly, and it's going to have a streak on it.
It will.
It's going to be bent out of shape.
I do not jive with that. It's so Damon, when you go to your coworker's desk, do you touch their monitors when you're pointing at something?
Bro, if someone touches my monitors, we might be fighting.
Thank you.
Even in my house.
Thank you.
My wife or my kids will come up and try to point out something on my monitor. I said, "Did you just touch my monitor? Are you crazy?"
Yeah. This is the same thing. You stop touching things.
Fair enough. Well,
do we even have to talk about this next one? I feel like it's just, I don't even want to talk about it. It's so stupid, it's not even worth talking about.
I thought it was kind of funny.
At a high level, you're right. The fact that, okay.
It's just so stupid.
The fact that somebody
stupid, but that's why it's funny.
the fact that somebody took a chip out of a MagicBand and tried to implant it under their skin is, one, ew. Why would you do that? And two, yeah, like, this is the dumbest thing you could do. And now that Disney has to, you know, put warnings on the MagicBands that say, don't do this.
Not just one person, Trevor. 2 people tried it.
Well, that doesn't
one
make
failed
it feel any
and one was successful.
Well,
so,
no, both failed.
I thought the second one was successful.
No, they're both failures for attempting it.
For attempting this, fair enough. I want to know where you find a doctor to do this for you. That's really what I want to know. But not that I want to do it. I'm just like, how do you even find someone that will do this for you?
There's people do all kinds of crazy body
stuff.
Modification stuff.
Money talks.
It's just crazy that they have to even put a label on. I mean, come on, like, you know, that's crazy.
Yeah, all right, we're going to push on to the 50th anniversary celebration stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say, first of all, though, with this, I saw a lot of people in the group were annoyed by this. It's like, this is just a preview. It's one thing. They're not going to give you everything at once.
They never do. I mean,
what's that?
They never do. They always... No. You know, they start with, you know, here's the opening stuff, and then as the year goes on, they'll announce more and more things. I remember even with when I went to the 60th at Disneyland, it was the same thing as, leading. We went it was about 5 months into the 60th. And I remembered, like, initially I was like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. And then it was like they added shows and they added new merchandise and stuff as they
food and you know all that stuff.
Like, isn't it crazy how people get so excited about lighting?
I mean, I'll count myself as part of that because, like, some of the
I think I would agree too with myself, but it's crazy to me that like
it's a fair observation. You know, we can all like it, but yeah, it's weird how, you know, new lights make a difference.
I mean, I don't know if you guys looked at the lights for Spaceship Earth, but I'm psyched about those lights. It looks
I want to see them. I do want to see Spaceship Earth.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is funny that we get excited. You're totally right, Damon. It's weird that we all get excited about lights. But I thought the light package that they're doing for Spaceship Earth looks cool. I like that it's gonna be permanent.
I like the Tower of Terror one, to be honest with you.
The Tower of Terror one is very cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that especially since that's like the park icon now, because, you know, it was the Ear Hat for a while, it was Earful Tower, and now basically Tower of Terror is kind of the place that
it's the highest point that they can make a monument. Yeah,
exactly. It's like their focal point of the park. So yeah, no, that one looks cool. I mean, I like what they're doing with like the Tree of Life stuff too. I mean, it all looks really cool. I'm a big fan of the projections. I'm a big fan.
I mean, it's so funny because it probably doesn't cost all that much, but it's like this huge to do.
Yeah. That's definitely true. It probably doesn't cost them that much to do. Although I'm sure those whatever bulbs they have to put in those things probably cost a fortune every time they got to replace them, right? But
maybe they're just pixel lights and they can just do whatever they want.
Do it that way, yeah, maybe.
I mean, yeah,
maybe
if they've gone from bulbs to LEDs, then yeah.
Well, these are projections though, so these are projectors.
Yeah, but it depends on what the projectors are using. So
yeah.
So, old bulbs and projectors cost, hundreds and thousands of dollars, whereas you can now get...
But even that is such a nominal fee when you talk about over the course of a year, right?
Yeah, of course.
True. Yeah, it's that versus, what they used to spend.
The cake?
Yeah. I was going to say, think about the old Main Street Electrical Parade, like... How many bulbs were on those floats, right?
Oh, God, I can't even imagine trying to check all those. But we should mention, by the way, they did announce that this is going to be an 18-month celebration.
That's so stupid.
You don't like that it's going to be 18 months?
It's 18 months. Is it really a 50th anniversary celebration, then?
Oh, I mean,
no.
I think it just gives more people the opportunity to take part in the celebration, right? That's all.
Yeah, and again, no different than what they did at Disneyland for the 60th.
Why not just have it 3 years then? Why not just have it every day forever? Why don't they celebrate the 50th until they get to the 60th?
Well, Damon, if you go to the Crystal Palace, every day is Friendship Day.
That's true.
What? Oh my gosh.
You don't know this, Tom?
It's such a cop-out. It's such a fiscal thing. See, again, this comes down, it's a fiscal thing, 18 months.
I mean, I get it, but I mean, I just think it's more, because listen, this is all a marketing thing to get people to come to the parks, right? I mean, that's all it is. So they're going to stretch it as long as they can.
If anyone gets gear from 51st and pans it off as 50th, it's the same thing as going 2 weeks after and saying it's your birthday.
So what you're saying, Damon, is that you can only buy 50th anniversary stuff if you buy it from October 1st, 2021 to October 1st, 2022. Right?
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm saying.
Okay, so anytime after that, it doesn't count anymore.
Doesn't count. Now here's the big question. Can you buy it from outside of the park? And I think I'm gonna go with a yes. I know there was a lot of people that said no, but I mean, it's still the 50th anniversary. Just because you're not there, you're still celebrating it. I'm going to say that's allowed.
I think it's allowed.
I also feel that, again, because of how this particular lead up has worked for the 50th, they would really be doing themselves a disservice by not selling this merchandise outside of the park.
No, I'm just saying at the same level as the golden button, I give a pass to buying it outside of the park, which seems very unlike me, but I just feel like you can. I think this is you can. It's different. A lot of people made this akin, right, to you can't buy, right. Who said, was it an art group or another group that said you can't buy a band t-shirt? Concert t-shirt if you didn't go to the concert.
If you didn't go to the concert, yeah.
I just think this is a little different, though.
No, I agree. I think this is different. And just so everybody knows, so the only thing they've announced so far are these kind of projections that they're going to do on the different park icons. And the Epcot one is going to be permanent. The rest, it looks like they're going to be fairly temporary. And then the only other thing they released at this time are new outfits for Mickey and Minnie. And then some of the...
Okay.
Yeah. And like they're going with this, they coined a new term called iridescent. To be what the guests are going to see.
Sigh.
You don't like the iridescent thing?
No.
That's trying too hard for the pun. Like,
exactly.
I appreciate a good pun, but it's got to work. You can't force it.
Yeah, I get it. But listen, this is just a preview. This is the first thing. There's going to be a lot more things that they're going to release throughout this year that are going to be,
So officially it's October to October, huh?
Yeah, October 1st, 2021 would be the 50th, yeah.
And then, but is it a year or is it the fiscal year?
No, it's a year. I mean,
no, I know it's 18 months, so it doesn't even count. But I'm saying in my head, is that anniversary has to be the whole until the next October? It's not fiscal year, right?
No.
Yeah,
I think it's still.
It might change my mind on the gear. It's going to depend.
I don't
right
know if
now
I really
saying,
want to change your mind on that. I think I'm okay.
Right now, I'm
with
saying the gear is appropriate to buy if you don't go to the park, but maybe I might have some thoughts on that after, because it kind of goes against my whole button theory, and I don't like
it. Does it does?
But I feel like it's different, but I can't say why. Just a gut feeling it's different, and I don't know if my gut is enough to make that work against what I would consider a total travesty of the birthday situation.
It feels inconsistent for you, but I think
very
you're
inconsistent.
You're factoring in the fact that not everybody's going to be able to get to the parks within the next year and a half, because of various things, right?
A year, because I don't consider anything after that October date valid anyway.
You're factoring that not everybody's going to be able to get to the parks between October 1st and October 1st. And I think that's generous of you to allow that.
Yeah, but again, that whole concert t-shirt kind of weighs in heavily on me as well. Why is it different? It is different in my gut, but why?
Is it because it's a milestone anniversary?
It's a lot more expensive to get to Disney than it is.
No, it's not. It's not a money thing. Is it because it's an anniversary and not necessarily? I guess yes, because you could respect an anniversary without necessarily. Like when you have a concert you have to really be at that concert and listen to the music. I guess you can just respect the Disneyness.
You can celebrate the anniversary without actually physically being there.
Or it's when a band releases, when they re-release.
I don't feel good about this though, everybody. I don't feel good about this. I might have to think on this some more. It's not making me feel good inside.
Trevor, what were you saying?
I was gonna say is this like when a band, re-releases an album or, does like the reunion tour and, even though not everybody goes to the reunion tour, you still like support the band?
I don't know. It's a concert t-shirt, I think, says that you were there. I don't know if a 50th anniversary says you were there or you just acknowledge it. I think that's the difference.
Right.
Yeah. It's a tough one, Damon. It's a tough one. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
This really is. This might have to be revisited again.
He's going to have to think about this.
Yeah,
one. This is going to bother him for the next week until we talk again.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but I did have some trip news, but I'm just going to hold it till next time because it's too much.
Okay. Can we just quickly talk about the colors that they showed for the new outfits? I'm hoping that the merch follows those same color patterns. I do like it, regardless of the iridescent.
Yeah, I like it too, and I think it is going to follow that because the logo looks like that, right? Like the 50th logo has that kind of like cool like color. Sorry, Damon, what were you going to say?
Feels classy.
It is. It's very classy, right? Yeah, Are they
going to sell that 50th button that Mickey has?
Oh, the cool
Jeweled
with the bejeweled thing. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, if I could get that would be really nice.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What would you do with it though?
That's true.
I'm starting to get to the point in my house where like I'm running out of spots for stuff. So I don't know. Again, Tom, Trevor, and myself were talking about another very interesting topic prior to the show, but I don't necessarily want to talk about it until I get a little bit further into it.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring it up because
because if it doesn't pan out, it just seems like
Stay tuned.
But no, I think these outfits are pretty cool, man. Like the Mickey's jacket's got like the castle like on it with fireworks going over. I mean, they look cool, and I like the colors. The colors are cool, and the logo is cool too. I'm seriously wanting to get some of this merch when it comes out. So, and I will go, Damon. I will go and buy it.
Well, yeah.
See, now that you said that, now I might have to just take everything back.
Why? Because I'm saying I'll go and get it?
Yeah, now what if I want to get it? Now I have to, and Tom just kind of called me out on that. I don't know.
Yeah, because what if you want some of the gear, man? Like, and you can't,
see,
you don't make it next year.
The difference is, does Disney Springs count? I believe it does.
Yeah, Disney Springs counts.
It's still in the resort. It's still in the bubble.
See, I'm the sort of person that, like, I'll go down there and drive down there 10 hours there, go buy some stuff and drive 10 hours back just so I can then say that I was there.
Yeah,
that seems a very
totally
much
counts.
Thing for me to do.
That counts. Yeah.
If I could find a reasonably cheap flight to do something similar, I would too, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah. That's gonna, that's a little tougher for you, but
I can't justify spending, $500+ on travel expenses than to go and buy, just.
I mean, 10 hours would still probably cost me close to $2 bills, I would think.
Listen, I might be taking a solo trip in November, like a legit solo trip, and meeting some friends down there. Almost kind of a guy's trip in a weird way.
I don't believe in those. So.
I know you don't, but my wife can't get off of work because it's the middle of the school year, and this is when my friend is going, and I never get to see him.
Yeah, then the right thing to do is just to stay home. Sorry, Tom.
I actually wasn't gonna go. My wife has been encouraging me.
Encouraging you, and go ahead, Tom. You go ahead.
No, she brought the idea up to me. She actually knew about this trip before I did. So
I'm sure she did.
You know, when my son was younger, my wife did that to me too, where she would push me out of the house because she was like, "You still need to have a social life, and you need to, have a little bit of time away from your family." So I can understand where your wife is coming from.
Well, it's one of my best friends in the world. His wife is dragging him to Disney. He's not into Disney at all, and I never get to see him.
His wife is going? So you're definitely third wheeling this, then, is what you're saying?
No. Well, my other best friend's probably going to go too. So we're gonna and
you're gonna double third wheel.
No, we're going to separate him from his wife and have him. We're not going to go for their whole trip, just for a couple days, and try to get him to have a good time doing other things. So.
Tom's going to 6-wheel it. Wow.
We'll see. I don't know what we're doing yet, so we'll figure it out. But anyway, all right, let's wrap up. I think this has been enough nonsense for one episode.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, so
unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about.
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, we've had more than enough time today. So, as we've mentioned, we had a listener question today that came into us via email. So if you guys do want to email us, make sure you contact us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We do love hearing from you guys, and Ashley, like we said earlier in the episode, we would like to maybe hear a little bit more information on your question, so we can try and further that discussion. Outside of the email address, if you want to reach us on Facebook, you can find us as Welcome Home Podcast. And also, if you want to join the Facebook group, it's called the Welcome Home Disney Waitlist. We've got more and more people joining there every day, and it still amazes me how fun and cool the group is, and how much people are just always very, it's very positive, it's very fun, and people are all on the same wavelength as us, I think, which is
drama free.
Yeah, we don't like the drama, and
one follows the rules in the group, and nobody tries to do anything that they're not supposed to be doing. So it's great. So come hang out there with us if you want to get in on it. Also, if you want to follow our YouTube channel, you can find us as Welcome Home Podcast. Anytime we do live episodes, you'll see those get posted on there if you happen to miss them on Facebook. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can find us as Welcome Home Pics. And then if after all of that, if you decide that, hey, you really need a t-shirt or you need a mug that, happens to say Welcome Home Podcast on it, make sure you go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and pick up some stuff. There's also masks too. So if you're in need of some masks going down to the park, we do have masks there. So give them a try. I'm going to buy those for my trip.
Yeah, exactly. And then, no one will know it's you, Tom.
That's kind of the plan. I'm just going to go incognito and
with the podcast logo on your mask.
Not that anybody knows me. It knows anyway. Yeah. I mean, it's not like we're famous over here. So
yeah, exactly.
Nobody knows. I mean, I guess some people know what I look like, but we'll see. We'll see.
And outside of that, if you guys, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or any of those services, please leave us a review. We do get a lot of great reviews from you guys. We do read them, but it also helps more people find the podcast because it actually makes us more visible on those services.
Yeah, please do that. And don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us, you can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify. Any place you can find podcasts, you can find us. Just search for Disney DVC Welcome Home. You'll find us pretty quickly. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, any and all opinions we express on this show are our own, so please consult a DVC representative or Disney representative. For more information about anything we talked about today, big thanks to DVC Rental Store. Really appreciate their sponsorship and their support. Please check them out if you're looking to try to rent some DVC and save a lot of money. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar